Good morning, this is Josh, and I hope you're having a beautiful day today. It is 7 o'clock a.m. here in Amman, Jordan, and this morning we're taking a look at Al-Kahf, the cave from the Quran. And just a couple of things to note about the Quran. They call the chapters in the Quran surahs, and each surah is given a name based on a theme or something significant that happens in the actual surah. Verses are called ayats, and I am going to start today on ayat or verse 58, and I'm using a website that I absolutely love called Quran.com. You can see it has some really wonderful features here. You can in fact click on each word and it will read it and translate it. And your Lord, the most forgiving Lord. And also you can play the verse in Arabic, which is really beautiful. They, in fact, sing the verses or chant the verses. So let's listen to verse 58.
وربك الغفور ذو الرحمة لو يؤاخذهم بما كسبوا لعجل لهم العذاب بل لهم موعد لن يجدوا من دونه موئلا.
Absolutely beautiful. Let me read it in English. Your Lord is the all-forgiving, full of mercy. If he were to seize them immediately for what they commit, he would have certainly hastened their punishment. But they have an appointed time from which they will find no refuge.
وتلك القرى أهلكناهم لما ظلموا وجعلنا لمهلكهم موعدا.
Those are the societies we destroyed when they persisted in wrong, and we had set a time for their destruction.
وإذ قال موسى لفتاه لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين أو أمضي حقبا فلما بلغا مجمع وإذ قال موسى
And remember when Moses said to his younger assistant, I will never give up until I reach the junction of the two seas, even if I travel for ages. We see Moses coming into the picture. But when they finally reached the point where the seas met, they forgot their salted fish, and it made its way into the sea, slipping away wondrously. When they had passed further, he said to his assistant, Bring us our meal. We have certainly been exhausted by today's journey. He replied, Do you remember when we rested by the rock? That is when I forgot the fish. None made me forget to mention this except Satan, and the fish made its way into the sea miraculously. Moses responded, That is exactly what we were looking for. So they returned, retraced their steps. There they found a servant of ours, to whom we had granted mercy from us and enlightened with knowledge of our own. Moses said to him, "May I follow you, provided that you teach me some of the right guidance you have been taught?" He said, "You certainly cannot be patient enough with me. And how can you be patient with what is beyond your realm of knowledge?" Moses assured him, "You will find me patient, Allah willing, and I will not disobey any of your orders." He responded, "Then if you follow me, do not question me about anything until I myself clarify it for you." So they set out, but after they had boarded a ship, the man made a hole in it. Moses protested, "Have you done this to drown its people? You have certainly done a terrible thing." He replied, "Did I not say that you cannot have patience with me?" Moses pleaded, "Excuse me for forgetting, and do not be hard on me." So they proceeded until they came across a boy, and a man killed him. Moses protested, "Have you killed an innocent soul, who killed no one? You have certainly done a horrible thing." He answered, "Did I not tell you that you cannot have patience with me?" Moses replied, "If I ever question you about anything after this, then do not keep me in your company, for by then I would have given you enough of an excuse." So they moved on until they came to the people of a town. They asked them for food, but the people refused to give them hospitality. There they found a wall ready to collapse, so the man set it right. Moses protested, "If you wanted, you could have demanded a fee for this." He replied, "This is the parting of our ways. I will explain to you what you could not bear patiently. As for the ship, it belonged to some poor people working at sea, so I intended to damage it, for there was a tyrant king ahead of them who seized every good ship by force. And as for the boy, his parents were true believers, and we feared that he would pressure them into defiance and disbelief. So we hoped that their Lord would give them another, more virtuous and caring, in his place. And as for the wall, it belonged to two orphan boys in the city, and under the wall was a treasure that belonged to them, and their father had been a righteous man. So your Lord willed that these children should come of age and retrieve their treasure. As a mercy from your Lord, I did not do it all on my own. This is the explanation of what you could not bear patiently. They ask you, O Prophet, about Zul-Qarnayn. Say, I will relate to you something of his narrative. Surely we established him in the land and gave him the means to all things. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. It seems we have a little bit of a break, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, I wanted to read a little bit of commentary. I'm looking at the Quran and the Bible, text and commentary, by Gabriel Said Reynolds. Okay, so this is about the Moses story. Although the Quran names the protagonist of this account Moses, it is developing a tradition known from the stories told about Alexander and his cook Andreas, and their quest for the fountain of life, itself a development of older tales, beginning with ancient Near Eastern literature. This account is part of a tradition that includes the Greek Alexander romance 4th or 5th century AD, the Babylonian Talmud, and the Syriac Christian Song of Alexander, AD 630 to 35. The song is falsely attributed to Jacob of Serug. Below I include passages from the Song of Alexander, which describe how the cook discovers the fountain of life when his fish comes to life. In the song, the vocabulary used for bathing in the fountain of life is that used for baptism, and the motif of the fish, which represents Christ returning to life, alludes to Christ's resurrection. The Macedonian king, the son of Philip, spoke, "I have determined to follow a great quest to reach the land or lands, even the farthest lands, to reach the seas and the coasts and the borders as they are, above all to enter and to see the land of darkness, if it is truly as I heard it is." Song of Alexander. Then Alexander's cook came to the spring, which contained the life-giving water. He came close to it in order to wash the fish in water, but it came alive and escaped. The poor man was afraid that the king would blame him, that he gave back the value of the fish, which had come to life and which he did not stop. So he got down into the water in order to catch it, but was unable. Then he climbed out from there in order to tell the king that he had found the spring. He called, but no one heard him, and so he went to a mountain from where they heard him. The king was glad when he heard about the spring. The king turned around in order to bathe in the spring, as he had sought to do, and they went from the mountain in the middle of darkness, but they could not reach it. Song of Alexander, Recension 1, page 48 through 55, 182 through 92. The confluence of the two seas, Majma al-Buhairain, in verse 60 is generally understood by Muslim commentators to be, as Tafsir al-Jalalain explains, the point where the Byzantine Sea and the Persian Sea meet. However, in light of this episode's relationship to the Alexander literature, this phrase more likely means the point at which the waters in the heavens and the waters on earth meet. On this see Genesis 1, 6 through 7. That is the end of the world. In this regard, how Alexander, or Dua Likarnain, goes to the westernmost, verse 86, and easternmost, verse 90, points on earth, something which reflects a flat earth, as Tommaso Tisi has shown. Syriac Christian authors such as Narsai, Homilies de Narsai sur la Création, page 528, use the expression two seas to refer to the waters of heaven and the waters of earth. The Quran also refers to two seas in chapter 25, 53, chapter 55, 19. There they found one of our servants, I'm looking at 65, whom we had granted mercy from ourselves and taught him knowledge from our own. All right, another overview of those verses 65 through 82 in the Quran. Overview. The Quran here connects the story of Alexander's quest for the fountain of life, 60 through 64, with a story likewise known from pre-Islamic sources, making Moses the protagonist of both. The appearance of Moses in place of Alexander in the first story is unusual, and his appearance in the second story is jarring, insomuch as he doesn't act much like a prophet therein. He is the disciple to the mysterious servant of God, known as Al-Khidr in Islamic tradition, and not a particularly good disciple. As Roger Perrett demonstrates, un parallèle byzantine au Coran. This latter story is connected to a tradition found in a manuscript, still unedited, which includes passages from Limon, or Pratum Spirituale, of John Mascus, that are not found in the standard edition thereof. Most of these traditions present the theme of a sage who is upset by the method of divine justice. One tradition, narrative 96, C.T. Nissen, un Bekannte Erzählungen aus dem Protum Spiritual, page 367, tells the story of an angel of God, equivalent to the mysterious servant of God in the Quran, who acts in ways that mystify an old and pious monk. The angel steals a cup from a pious man, strangles the son of another pious man, and rebuilds the wall which belonged to an impious and inhospitable man. The angel explains that the cup which belonged to the first man had been stolen. The son of the second pious man was to grow up to be an evil sinner. By strangling this son, the angel allowed him to die before he fell into sin. Beneath the wall of the impious man lay hidden treasure, and by rebuilding the wall, he kept the man from finding his treasure and using it for evil. These line up closely to the Quranic Moses and the servant of God passages. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for the reading of the Quran today, and we'll see you again soon. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day today.